There's one Spanish mystery that confuses millions of learners. Most people think this is correct, but the truth will surprise you.
If you've ever tried to translate I like directly into Spanish and just gotten these super strange looks from native speakers, trust me, you're not alone. Gustar functions in a completely different way than its English counterpart, and honestly, trying to force it into an English mold, well, that's literally the #1 reason learners get stuck. But don't worry, by the end of our time together today, you're going to have this crystal clear, intuitive mental model for exactly how to use it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a quick roadmap for what we're covering. First up, the big pronoun mistake. Then, singular versus plural, liking actions and verbs, adding emphasis for clarity, and finally, agreeing and disagreeing in conversation. Starting right off with section 1, the big pronoun mistake, and why we really need to unlearn the phrase I like. So, the very first hurdle English speakers hit with Gustar is that you have to completely ditch the I like mental framework. Because I is yo in Spanish, our brains automatically lean on that English instinct, right? We want to say yo gusta. Or for you like, we want to say tu gusta. I'm going to be super explicit here and warn you right now. Just completely erase yo gusta from your memory. No way, never say that. The correct Spanish framework uses entirely different words. We're talking me gusta and te gusta. We just do not use standard personal pronouns with this verb. So what are those words exactly? Well, Gustar requires specific indirect personal pronouns. These are your new foundational building blocks. Instead of I, you're going to use me. Instead of you, it's te. For he, she, or formal you, it's le. We becomes nos. You all, if you're in Spain, is os. And for they or plural you all, it's les. Memorizing this quick list of indirect pronouns is literally step 1 to mastering Gustar. When you use them, you're essentially saying that something is pleasing to you. Moving right along to section 2, singular versus plural, the object rules. All right, now that we've fixed the pronoun issue, let's look at where the real magic happens. The form of the verb gustar depends entirely on what is being liked, not who is doing the liking, which brings up the most common question I hear. Why do we sometimes hear people say gustar, and other times we clearly hear gustan with an N right at the end? What's the trigger for that change? What's really cool here is how perfectly logical the rule actually is. For singular objects, you just use gusta. For instance, me gusta el árbol, I like the tree. Le gusta el pepino, he or she likes cucumber. Because the tree and a cucumber are singular things, we stick with gusta. But for plural objects, it shifts. Me gustan los árboles, I like the trees. Because there's more than one tree, the verb has to match it, so it becomes gustan. Oh, me gustan las palomitas means I like popcorn, and palomitas is a plural word specifically used in Mexico. So, plural popcorn equals a plural gustan. Let's look at just one more contrast to really hammer this home, because it is such a common trap. Compare nos gusta el vino, we like wine, with nos gustan las cervezas, we like beers. Notice how the pronoun nos means we, which is inherently a plural group of people, right? But the verb for the wine is still just gusta without the N. Why? Because the wine itself is singular. The verb only cares about the wine or the beers. It couldn't care less that there's a whole group of us doing the liking. The object always dictates the verb. All right, section 3, liking actions and verbs, doing things. So far, we've talked about liking things, trees, wine, popcorn. But what if you want to express liking an activity? What if you like doing things? To do this, we need to use an infinitive. And if you don't have a strong grammar background, please don't sweat it. An infinitive is simply the base, untouched, unconjugated form of a verb. In English, it's the to form, like to walk or to eat. In Spanish, these are just the verbs that end in ar, or ir. Great examples are caminar, comer, and vivir. And this brilliantly illustrates how we plug those infinitives right into our new formula. Me gusta caminar, I like to walk. Me gusta comer, I like to eat. You can actually even chain them together. Me gusta ir a correr translates to I like to go running, or me gusta ir al cine, for I like to go to the movies. Notice how incredibly smoothly the indirect pronoun pairs with that infinitive action verb. So, the crucial point is this major aha moment right here. When you're talking about actions, when you're using infinitives, the verb gustar always stays singular. It is always gusta. Even if you list off 5 different things you like to do, you never, ever use gustan for verbs. Just keep it singular. Moving into section 4,
adding emphasis for clarity. Who exactly likes it? So sometimes simply saying me gusta or le gusta just isn't quite enough. Sometimes you really need to emphasize exactly who is experiencing the liking, especially if you're comparing yourself to other people. Here is the equation for emphasis. We have our obligatory pronouns, me, te, le. These are absolutely mandatory. You literally cannot build a Gustar sentence without them. But we also have these off phrases. These are completely optional, but they can be plugged into the front of your sentence for extra punch. A mí pairs perfectly with me. A ti pairs with te. And a él or a ella pairs with le to clarify exactly who he or she actually is. Let's look at a practical scenario. Imagine you're in a group of friends trying to decide what to do for the afternoon, right? Everyone's throwing out ideas. You want to emphatically state your personal preference. You wouldn't just say, me gusta ir a la playa. You kind of puff your chest out a bit and say, a mí me gusta ir a la playa. It roughly translates to, as for me, I like to go to the beach. It just adds that perfect conversational emphasis to your personal pronoun. Let's wrap things up with section 5, agreeing and disagreeing. Conversational flow. Let's see how this builds into real-world conversational scenarios, because grammar is only really useful if we can actually chat with people, right? So let's look at agreeing and disagreeing. We're going to set up a hypothetical mini conversation. A friend turns to you and asks, ¿Te gustan los gatos? Notice the structure there. They, because they're asking you, and gustan with an N because cats, gatos, is plural. Let's walk through exactly how to agree with that. Step 1, your friend says, Sí, me gustan los gatos. Yes, I like cats. Step 2, you share that exact same positive feeling. You want to say, me too. In Spanish, using our emphasis phrase from earlier, you simply say, a mí también. Boom, you have perfectly agreed with a positive statement. But what if the preference is negative? Let's set up a second scenario. This time, the question is, ¿Te gustan los perros? Do you like dogs? Step 1, your friend says, No, no me gustan los perros. No, I don't like dogs. Notice the double no in there. Step 2, let's say you also don't like dogs. You want to say, me neither. Now, you cannot use también here. You absolutely must shift to the negative agreement word. You say, a mí tampoco. This is a real game changer. Whenever you are agreeing with a negative feeling, tampoco is your best friend. Of course, sometimes we just disagree. And honestly, that's super easy to handle without breaking any of our grammatical rules. If they say they like something, but you don't, you simply say, a mí no. And if they say they don't like something, but you actually do, you just say, a mí sí. It keeps the whole conversation flowing beautifully. Okay, time for a quick bonus round. Sometimes Gustar is just kind of too weak. If you have really strong feelings, our source material gave this wonderfully colorful example. What if someone asks if you like víboras, snakes? If you absolutely love them, you upgrade to the verb encantar and say, me encantan las víboras. It works exactly like Gustar using the same rules, but it means to love. On the flip side, if you hate them, you can ditch this verb structure entirely and just say, detesto las víboras, or odio las víboras. Wow, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today. You've unlearned your English habits, you've mastered indirect pronouns, you know exactly when to use gusta versus gustan, and you know how to talk about actions. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative question. I urge you to test out this brand new mental model in your own head right now. Just look around the room, think about your hobbies, and tell me, ¿Qué te gusta a ti? What do you like? Grab the formula and start practicing today.
Case closed, detectives. If this mystery helped you, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss our next Spanish investigation. Trust me, the next case is even more surprising.